let's bring in Mark Thiessen, Fox News contributor. Mark, hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Let's get to work. The tug of war on tariffs is already on, and I want to get your take on it. First, sort of where you think this may be headed.
Well, first of all, you can already feel, he's not even in office yet, and you can already feel the tectonic shifts happening on the world stage. And what Trump does, which is why he was so successful in his first term and why he'll be successful in a second term, is he employs a strategy of escalation dominance. So what he does is he signals to our allies or adversaries around the world that he's willing to jump to the top of the escalation ladder and dares them to follow him. But then he also offers them a way down the escalation ladder through negotiation. So he says to Mexico, I'm imposing 25% tariffs on you if you don't shut down the border, but I'm willing to talk to you and figure out a way that we can do this together. And they know that he's willing to do it, which is why she's calling him. This is why Canada is freaking out right now, because they know that he'll actually do this if they don't shut down the border. And I have a prediction for you. They're going to shut down the border. It's going to happen because they don't want 25% tariffs on everything that they send to America.
No, they don't. You're right. And under the first Trump administration, I remember going down to Mexico's southern border, and AMLO had actually put Mexican military there to stop migrants from crossing from Guatemala. Yep. But I took a look this morning at the press out of Mexico City, and it seems that they are really making the case that, hey, the border is already shut down. Things are calm. In fact, President Biden sounding off on lower numbers when he was talking about the tariffs. Listen here.
You know, the cooperation with the outgoing president and the incoming president, the illegal crossings are down considerably to what they were back when he was in office. There's a lot more to do, but I just think, I hope they reconsider.
They're lower now, Mark, but we can show you the totality of the Biden-Harris administration versus the first Trump 4 years. You've got more than 8 million encounters at the southwest border under Biden-Harris, where it's only almost 2.5 total under Trump. How do you think this figures into it?
Yeah, I think Joe Biden's definition of a closed border is not what most of the American people would suggest. And it's not just that we have to close the border and stop the flow in here. They've let in over 10 million illegal migrants into this country. Those illegal housing, feeding, caring for those migrants cost the American people $150 billion last year. In 1 year, $150 billion. So it's not just that we've got to stop the flow of the illegal migrants into our country and shut down the border. They've got to take them back. Donald Trump is going to deport those people, and so he's going to need their cooperation in taking them back. And when those flights start taking off from the United States with these illegal migrants going back to Mexico City, she better take them, or there's going to be an economic price to be paid by Mexico.
We'll see, because we know on day one, Trump plans to reinstate the Remain in Mexico policy, and that takes two to tango. Claudia Sheinbaum will have to be a willing partner in that. Quickly, before we run out of time, the other thing, I was watching in New York City yesterday, you had protesters turning out. The cover of the New York Post today, calling it the balloony left. There were lots of arrests in a rainy New York City. What do you make of that?
So here's the problem with our immigration system. It's not just that we're letting millions of people into our country illegally. It's that we're letting millions of people into our country legally who hate America. Most of the people at these protests are not Americans. They're people here who are on visas. Most of the people harassing Jewish students on college campuses are not Americans. They're here on student visas. We need to deport them too. If you hate America, coming to our country is a privilege. Coming here to study is a privilege. Coming here to work is a privilege. If you hate America and you're harassing our citizens and spreading anti-Semitism, you need to be deported. And I think one of the things Trump should do immediately when he comes into office is take the power away from colleges to decide who comes into this country. And if you're leading a student protest that's calling from the river to the sea, that Israel be destroyed, if you're harassing Jewish students, your student visa gets revoked and you get deported too. So it's not just illegal migrants that need to be deported. It's some of the people we've allowed in legally too.
So we saw under the Biden administration this anti-Israel left, I think many would argue, successfully pulled the administration to the left on this. Do you think that same pressure will have an impact under President Trump?
Not a chance. Look, the Biden administration is weak. They were weak from the day one. They're weak on the border. They're weak when it comes to facing pressure from this far left. Donald Trump is going to stand with Israel. Donald Trump is going to bring strength back to our border policy. He's going to bring strength back to our foreign policy. And he's not going to care one whit what these people marching in these cities say about his policies.
Mark Thiessen joining us this morning. Thank you for taking time. As always, have a great rest of your weekend.